Hi and welcome back. For today's class, we're going to focus on engaging the back body, also connecting to the breath, and then adding balance into our hamstring exercises in the form of Warrior 3. It's going to be a challenging class for your strength and your flexibility, and we're going to begin with a little focus on the breath. Let's get started. So the first thing I want you to do is lie down onto your back. So as you go to lie down onto your back, we're going to connect to the breath at the end of the exhalation. One of the issues is that when you first come to yoga, you might be excited about breathing, and part of yoga is to do deep breathing. So you come in, tighten the neck with some rib flare going on, some poor posture, and you're trying to pull in more breath. And that's kind of the opposite of what we want to do. Instead, we want to find the end of the exhalation, like we did on breathwork day. And then at the end of the exhalation, then the lungs can fully expand from the bottom. Otherwise, if you're just focusing on the in-breath, you're breathing shallow breaths into the top of the lungs, which isn't using your full lung capacity, and it's promoting poor posture and also puts you into a sympathetic nervous system state, which is the alert, the fight or flight. So it's stressing you out. So we're gonna lie down on your back, bring your hands to your ribs here, and as you exhale, do it through the mouth so you can really get all there out. And then see if you can pause. Breathe in through your nose. Put your hands here at the sides of your ribs and breathe into the back and the side ribs as well as the front. And then another. Exhale through the mouth. Send it all out. Pause at the end. Let your shoulders and your neck relax. Breathe in here into these side and back ribs. And one more exhalation through the nose. Front ribs down, all there out. Relax your shoulders and neck. And now we're going to try to use that breath technique as part of a mobility exercise. So I want you to press your heels into the mat, tuck your tailbone towards the ceiling so your lower back goes flat and the ribs go down. Connect the rib cage to the pelvis, reach your arms up, and as you engage the hamstrings, inhale your collarbones wide from the center of your chest to the tips of your shoulders. And see if you can reach the arms back a couple more inches. Then as you exhale, draw your ribs back in and down. Inhale, reach the arms back a little further as the collarbones broaden. And as you exhale, contract your hamstrings, ribs in and down, connect the ribs to the pelvis. Then bring your arms back up. Hug your right knee into your chest as you stretch your left leg out along the ground. Change legs. Hug the left knee into the chest as you stretch your right leg out. Now keep some of the memory of that exercise, the rib cage to the pelvis, but without flattening the lower back. So you want to keep your neutral curve, rib cage in, hips reach towards the heel. Now take your left arm up, right hand to your knee, slowly reach your left arm back. Be mindful of your fluffy dog as you reach back, and then change sides. Slide that heel in. As you slide your left leg out, bring the right knee in. Right arm reaches back. So you're still doing your core work here. The ribs are moving in and down as the arm reaches back. And change sides. So we're seeing how much glenohumeral flexion we can get without TL junction going into extension. So this is true shoulder flexion as opposed to this situation. Now lift your left leg up. Keep your core engaged. Change sides. And change sides. Keep going nice and slow. See if you can reach the arm and the leg further while still being mindful of your core. but without tensing up your neck and your jaw. Then hold both arms up, both knees up. See if you can lower the legs a third of the way while keeping the pelvis in its position. Don't let it move with the legs like that. Keep your pubic bone tied up towards your chest. See if you can lower another third of the way, and then slowly take your arms back, keeping the ribs down. Come back up. Slowly lower the legs. Lower another third of the way if possible. Stretch the arms back. Hold the ribs down. Collarbones broad. Back up. Last one. You should really feel your abs working. Arms back. Keep the knees hip socket distance apart instead of letting them just hang lazy. Bring it back up. Then plant your feet down onto the ground. Press your elbows down into the ground to activate your back. Lift your hips up. Now as you drive the elbows down, don't push your ribs out to do it. So keep your core as you activate your back muscles. Feel the muscles around the scapula, the backs of the shoulders turn on, upper back turn on. Now firm your buttocks to the backs of your knees, contract your hamstrings, and press those elbows. Press so much like you're going to drive yourself up more from the elbows. Then slowly lower your hips down as you reach your arms up and back without the ribs flaring. Bring the arms up and then drive down as you lift up. Reach the arms back up. Turn the hands like you're doing a plank. Bend the elbows, press down and lift up. Now keep your hamstrings contracted, buttocks down. Let's do the reach over exercise. Look over your left shoulder, reach your right arm up and over. Lower back down. Lift up, look over your right shoulder, reach the left arm up and over. Keep your ribs in, buttock in. Lower down. Lift up and reach up and over. Back down. Change sides. Then lift your hips up with your feet hip socket distance apart. See if you can keep your core steady without twisting. Bring one leg up into tabletop. Now, if this feels too challenging, just keep both feet down. But otherwise, with one leg up, slowly lower your hips and then lift right back up. You can add the elbow press to activate your back. Inhale to lower slow. Exhale, press. Add the elbow press. Seal the triceps down. Lower down and lift up. Lower down and lift. Oh, it's hamstring activity city here. Squeeze the buttock to the back of the knee, squeeze the hamstring. Lower that lifted leg, bring the other leg up into tabletop. Slowly lower your hips down and press into your heel, contract, rib cage in and down as you press down through the triceps. You can do straight arms now, but still keep that awareness of pressing elbows and triceps. Lower slow. Lift up. 4 more. Inhale. Now notice in these core exercises, I'm doing a mouth exhalation, which wouldn't be appropriate for the yoga poses. But for the core exercises, to really focus on firing the core, engaging the diaphragm, mouth is fine. To really find the end of the exhalation and come up with power. Lower yourself down. Take the soles of the feet together, then knees apart. Stretch your arms up and reach your arms overhead. Clasp your hands. Reach through the knuckles. Bring your knees together, hug your knees into your chest, roll yourself up to seated. And now, last part of our core warm-up, with a little bend in your knees, arms forward, Round like you're rolling over a ball. See if you can flex your spine. But imagine there's a paper towel roll here in your ears, in between your ears, and you're rolling it down to roll your head down, and then roll the rest of the spine in a similar fashion. Then roll the spine back up, sit tall, and then roll down onto your sacrum, rolling your pelvis under, paper towel roll style. Then roll the top of the sacrum, lower back, middle back, upper back, reach your arms up. And then roll your ears to roll up. Roll the spine. Roll it up. Raise your arms up, sit tall, press down through your sit bones. Arms forward, and we're gonna roll down. This is the proper way the roll should go. If you do the roll the other way, oh my gosh, not in my house. Roll yourself back up, and then roll down. Roll the sacrum. Stretch your arms back. And roll your ears forward. Roll the spine. Sit up. Then cross your legs. And let's do some cat-cow. With the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees under the hips. Round your back as you exhale. Inhale into extension. Exhale to round. Inhale into extension. Exhale to round. Inhale. Come into neutral. Stretch back into down dog or child's pose. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Bend your knees a bit, let your head drop. Roll yourself up. Balance over your ankles, stand tall. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, hinge from your hips and fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Plant your hands, step your left leg back into a lunge, lower your knee down. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale into plank pose. Lower down onto your belly, knees down or legs straight depending on your upper body strength, but control the movement and keep your core engaged as you lower. As you inhale, come into cobra pose. Press the tops of the feet. Exhale, stretch back into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up behind you. Exhale, step your foot up to your thumb, drop your back knee. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, step forward, Uttanasana. Press into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale the arms to your side. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step the right leg back into the lunge. Lower your knee, point your toes back. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Lower down slowly onto your belly, knees down or legs straight. Keep your little butt tuck, ribs in, so the core is engaged. Inhale into cobra. Lower yourself back down. The test to see if you could do it with straight legs would be to see if you can push up with straight legs. So if you can push up with straight legs, keeping your core braced, you might be able to lower down. The lower down is much harder. Inhale your right leg up behind you. Exhale, knee to chest. Step your foot up to your thumb and lower your back knee. Inhale, raise your arms up. Uttanasana, hands down, step forward and fold. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms. Exhale, Samastiti. Step your right foot back about 3.5, maybe 4 feet. Spread your arms out to the side. Turn your left leg in a little bit, turn your right leg out, and bend your right knee. So as you start to advance in your practice, we start to add poses to the flow. And we make it more of a flow, and we step more from down dog the better you get with your hip mobility and your core strength. But initially you saw in the first week of this yoga challenge that the poses were more static and just separated by themselves. From here, bring your forearm to your thigh, reach your arm over. So less poses, more of a focus on becoming proficient just in that pose instead of moving from pose to pose, which requires a good foundation. Inhale, come back up, change sides. So warrior two, hold in warrior two. So what I always recommend is that if people are new to yoga, that they start with mastering the fundamentals. So you could spend 2-3 weeks on just week 1 of the challenge. And then once you feel very confident, come on to week 2 of the challenge and repeat that for 3-4 weeks before you move on to the conscious movement community. Tip from your pelvis, reach over. Press into your feet, come back up. Straighten your leg, turn your toes in, feet parallel. Clasp your hands behind your back, open up your shoulders, and fold forward. Press into your feet and inhale, come back up. Turn your left leg out and step up to the top of your mat. Now we're going to practice going to warrior 3. This is a more advanced pose. We'll come to it from Parsvottanasana. So first, step your left foot back about 3.5 feet. Then bring your knuckles together behind your back. So we're going to add a balance challenge. In week 1, we had the hands onto something. Now hands are behind the back. Press into your right foot evenly. Tip from your pelvis and start to lean. See if you can lean without rounding your spine. You might need a little bend in the knee. When you feel your spine start to round into your hands, that's a sign that you've gone too far, that you're right at that spot in a long spine position. As the hamstrings start to warm up, you might be able to tip a little bit further. Now clasp your hands behind your back and fold forward. For those of you who use the strap or the towel, when we do this hands bound, that's very beneficial, especially for guys with broader shoulders or just people generally with tight shoulders. Press down into your feet. Inhale, come up. Raise your arms up, press your palms. Hands to prayer. Tip out over your leg again. And now is here where you're going to need a couple of blocks, a couple of books, or a chair. Put your hands onto something. And with the hands elevated, this is going to help you to keep the long spine. Some people might be able to do it with the hands on the ground, but many will just hunch over like this, and then look what you're doing to your neck, chest, and shoulders. You're building this strength, which you don't want to do. So come up high enough. For beginners, I usually start them on a chair. Then slide the hands or the chair a foot in front of your foot and raise your back leg. Now the first thing I want you to do is to micro bend this knee, level your waist to the floor. So your ribs are level, your hip bones are level. And then with your strong glute and hamstring on your back leg, keeping your core braced, you're gonna engage that and lift up. Similar to the bridge feeling. Remember when you're pushing through your heel so that you could lift? So feel the hamstring engage, the heel push, but you're still keeping the ribs in and down as you lengthen. Now, if you're feeling very confident, you might be able to take one arm back. You might be able to take both arms back. Outer hip engaged, waist level, step back, warrior one. Hands to prayer, step forward. Ooh, right butt. That was a lot of work. Okay, let's try the other side. Step your right foot back about 2.5 or 3 feet. Bring your knuckles together behind your back. More advanced practitioners can take reverse prayer. Start to tip forward out over your leg without rounding your back. Your hands are back there to help to remind you and to get a little internal rotation for the shoulder. Press through your back heel, breathe. Then clasp your hands behind your back or use your strap or towel. You would think after all these years of yoga, be able to do this. No, but the surfing makes my shoulders so tight that. So if you have like a sport or activity, like you're a runner, and you're like, why aren't my hamstrings getting flexible? That tension is necessary for your sport or activity. So there's a certain amount of tension that the body needs in certain muscles in order to keep a spring, for example, as a runner in the hamstring, a dynamic explosive paddle for a swimmer or surfer. Press into your feet, come back up, raise your arms up. Hands to prayer. Now lean out, put your hands onto your blocks or your chair seat, and then slide a foot in front of your foot. First thing that you want to do is level, be even on the left heel, and then keeping your core engaged, lift that back leg. Push to the heel, feel the hamstrings. If you don't have any of the props, you can also put your hands at a wall. But I feel like most people got a chair. You can even do this at the couch. Now see if you can take one arm back. Keep the back leg strong, ribs in, belly in, maybe both arms. Feel the outer hip pin in and back to your back heel. Bend your knee, step back, warrior one. Hands to prayer. Step forward. All right, now we're going to try a little challenge to see if we can flow into that pose. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog. Step your right foot for warrior one. Inhale, come up. Hands to prayer, lean out over your knee, spin your back heel up. Step up into warrior three. Step back into warrior one. Hands to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Step your left foot. Warrior one. Inhale, come up. Hands to prayer. Back heel up, lean out over your knee. Put it all together, step up, warrior three. Step back, warrior one. Hands to the mat, step back to down dog. Hold for 5 breaths. Come through to seated. Lie down onto your back. Open up your arms at your side. Cross your right ankle over your left knee and slowly let your legs fall over to the left. This is heaven. This is what heaven feels like. At the supine twist at the end after all that work always feels so good. Come back to center, change the cross, and slowly let your legs go over. Come back to center and stretch your legs out for Shavasana. Sorry, Ollie. Turn your palms up, let your feet fall open. Let yourself sink deeply inward. Just practice watching your breath. Notice what the exhalation feels like. Grounding, calming, cooling. And notice the energetic quality of the in-breath. Don't try to change your breath at all. Just practice observing it. Then gently bend your knees. Roll onto your side. And press yourself up to seated. Thank you. Namaste. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button. Leave a comment below. Let me know how the Warrior 3 went. Did you feel like the pose was improved by using the chairs and blocks? And also, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and turn on your notifications. See you next time.